Ok, buongiorno a tutti e a tutte e grazie per essere qui con noi oggi collegati. Oggi abbiamo con noi un ospite davvero molto interessante che scopriremo tra poco. La nostra ospite è Julia Rauch, che è la School Director per EF Perth. E oggi, diciamo, per concludere il nostro incontro, il nostro seminario di incontri sul mondo EF e sul mondo soprattutto dell'estero, per incominciare a valutare queste opportunità, chiudiamo in bellezza con diciamo, un tema molto interessante e secondo me molto interessante da valutare per chi fosse interessato a uscire dal nostro continente, ed è quello dell'Australia. Quindi questa sessione sarà in inglese perché appunto Giulia ci segue direttamente da Perth, è collegata da Perth, quindi farò uno switch in inglese, ma intanto volevo darvi un benvenuto, un ringraziamento per essere qui e quindi senza aggiungere molto altro vi ricordo che potete fare commenti, domande, eccetera, anche in italiano, noi le tradurremo e appunto poi faremo la sessione con Giulia in inglese. Quindi passerò all'inglese adesso. Julia, hi, good morning. Thank you for being here with us today. It's an actual pleasure to have you here. Obviously, we're looking very forward to sort of hearing what you have to tell us about Perth, about Australia, about studying abroad. I obviously, sorry about the Italian before, but I was obviously explaining a little bit more in Italian about the session that we're about to have. But obviously, we're here to hear from you. So without further much ado, I'd say I'd happily let you take over. So thank you very much for being here with us today.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Ciao a tutti, mi chiamo Julia e parlo un poco di italiano. So my name is Julia, I'm the EF Perth School Director, and I actually understood most of what you said because I learned Italian in school, which is a long time ago, so unfortunately I cannot speak it as well anymore. So the presentation, as I already mentioned, will be in English, but any questions, etc., just ask them away and I might understand them. If not, I'm sure I'll get some help translating. But welcome to EF Perth, the sunshine capital of EF Australia. So the picture that you see here in the background is actually one that I took at one of our recent days here in Perth. And before I tell you a little bit more about destination, I would like to introduce you to the EF Perth team, including myself. So my name is Julia, I'm the school director. I am originally from Austria, so I'm from Europe myself, and I've been working for EF for 10 years now. I've been in Australia for a bit over 3 years, and yeah, together with these lovely ladies, we would be the ones welcoming you to EF Perth, helping you to study and helping you to grow your language skills, as well as, of course, your professional career moving forward. Together with me, I have Laura and Crystal, who are responsible for our academic department, Robin and Maria, who work in our student services, so they would be the one helping you with visas, insurances, and everything there. We've got Alejandra and Sovika, who work in our accommodation, which we're going to speak about in a little bit, and then Asa and Belle, who are responsible for our activities department, so they will be showing you all of Australia and all of that. Now, what and where is our school located? So we are actually right in the heart of the city. So Perth is on the west. Maybe you want to mute yourself. Perfect. Thank you. So we are actually located right in the city centre of Perth, and Perth is located on the west coast of Australia. We do have two buildings over here, and they are right opposite of each other. As you can see right now in the background, I'm currently in one of the buildings, so I'm speaking to you live from Perth. It's 6:37 in the evening over here, so a bit of a time difference to where you are at. But the great thing is that Western Australia is actually not that far time difference that one might think. So it's quite easy to connect with your family and friends back home. We are super central. So we are 5 minutes from the train station and 3 minutes from the bus station. And there is pretty much everything that you need close by. If you want to go to the movies, restaurants, bars, shopping, everything from school is located about a 10-minute walk from Perth, from the station. Now, what does studying at EF Perth look like? So we have different courses that you can take with us. So for you, interesting, of course, would be our individual courses, and they start at 2 weeks, but go all the way up to a year. We always say the more time you can spend abroad, the more, of course, you will be going to improve and the more you will be going to learn. We have different programs for you to choose from. So we've got the basic English course, general English courses, as well as intensive English courses, with intensive, of course, being the one where you have the most lessons and hence can improve the most. And you can choose between a couple of specialized subjects as well. So here in Perth, we do offer our internship and volunteering program, as well as EF Job Club, which means if you're on a certain visa type, which we're going to look into in a little bit, you are actually able to work while you're here with us. You can choose to go on a Cambridge exam course. So you can do either the first or the advanced English exam with us. And you can actually also take the Cambridge exam with us here in Perth. So a great additional resource that could really help to boost your career, or of course, any future studies should you decide to continue studying after. And we are also offering an advanced diploma in hotel and tourism. So this gives you very hands-on experience with hotel and tourism industry here in Australia. And so not only learning English in the classroom, but of course also really for the real world out there. And you get special diploma for that. Now, as mentioned, and this is something that many of you might be interested in, is one big advantage, and this is not just in Perth, this is also in our Sydney school, is that we have something called Job Club. So what this means is that Job Club provides you with the tools you need to look for a job. So we offer 2 sessions. It is for free. And in these 2 sessions, you get to learn everything you need to know about working in Australia. So in the first session, we cover the basics. So we go through how to open a bank account. What does a tax file number look like and how can I get one? What is the pay in Australia? And how can I make sure to get the right CV and the right cover letter ready there? So really helping you to prepare and to be ready to apply for a job. In the second session, we then provide you with resources on how to actually find a job. So we give you tips and tricks on interview skills. What is the job culture like in Australia? And where can I actually find work? Apart from these sessions, we do have our EF job board, which you can find in school, same in the Sydney school, with important information and resources. And we also have our EF WhatsApp Job Club community, where we are posting job updates on a regular basis. So basically another place for you to find information and to be able to apply for jobs. Now, what is important is that Job Club is a tool to help you to find a job. In the end, you, of course, will be the one applying and you will be the one finding the jobs yourself. But we are here to support you and make sure that you have got the best chances to find a job while you're here with us in Australia. Now, what are some potential jobs that you might find yourself working in? So most of our students, and this aligns back to the Hotel and Tourism Advanced Diploma that we're offering, find jobs in the hotel and tourism industry. So that could be in cafe, bars and restaurants, that could be in a hotel, and it is perfect for while studying because it's early mornings, late evenings and weekends, meaning that it's perfectly combined with your studies. Experience generally is valued. If you do not have any experience in it yet, as mentioned earlier, we do offer an internship program as well, where we then really help you gain those skills again to then be able to apply for future jobs afterwards. Other jobs that our students often go for is things in the clothing industry, supermarkets, etc. Again, this is really useful because it does have a variety of shifts, so different times available to work with your study time. The advantage of this one is that typically experience is not as much needed, so a great alternative. And then the third one is more for those of you that have potentially already had previous job experience or maybe have done internship beforehand, which is in the labor industry. So this could be working as an electrician or, in a shop to fix things. And generally the pay in this one is really, really well. Overall, Australia is very well known for having a quite high hourly rate, so really a good opportunity for you to both gain work experience while you're abroad, but of course also be able to increase your English outside of the classroom. So many of these jobs, as you can see, are very much people focused. So if you work in a cafe, in a bar, in a hotel, or even in a supermarket, you will be communicating with people on a daily basis, which not only helps you to add additional pocket money, but of course also improve your English outside of the classrooms. And we have special interest classes in our school to prepare you for all of this. Now, as already mentioned, there is a couple of things to keep in mind if you do want to study and work in Australia when it comes to visas. So seeing that all of you, or most of you are from Italy and most likely have an Italian passport, there's 2 visas available for you. So firstly, you've got the choice to go on a working holiday visa, a student visa, or a tourist visa. Now, what is important that for the tourist visa that you cannot work while you study. So you can study up to 12 weeks on a tourist visa. So for anyone wanting for a little bit shorter period of time, this is a very good alternative, but you are not able to work or volunteer on this visa. If you do want to work while you study, the first 2 visas are really what you want to go for. So the student visa, to start with, allows you to work for a maximum of 48 hours every 2 weeks. So basically part-time work, which is perfect, and you can actually be able, to study quite well at the same time. To be able to go on a student visa, the minimum duration from the government is 13 weeks and the minimum hours of studies is 12 weeks, so 20 hours per week. So really making sure that you do an intensive course. Alternatively, if you actually want to stay in Australia after your stay and after your language studies, working holiday visa could also be a good alternative for you. It does allow for unlimited work for up to 1 year, and it does allow you to study for up to 4 months. So this is a good in between if you say, I want to stay a little bit longer and work, but maybe don't want to stay, for the full 6, 9, or 11 months, but all options available for you. What is important with the working holiday visa is that you're allowed to work maximum 6 months with the same company. And as mentioned, maximum study is 4 months. I would recommend that, especially for visas, you do, if you're interested, reach out to the Italian office. They can walk you through it and really see what is the right visa, depending on your goals and what you want to do after you finish your studies. Now we've gone a little bit, what does school look like? What are the options that you have? You might be wondering, what is my living situation? How do I live while I'm in Australia? Now, the first choice you have there is going into a host family. The great thing with our hosts is you would really dive into cultural exchange, because our hosts love to welcome students into their home and want cultural exchange. What is important to note here is Perth is a very, very long city. From north to south, it's actually 120 kilometers. What is great is we do have amazing public transport. So there is high-speed trains going all over the city, and all of our homes and host families live up to a maximum of 60 minutes from school. As mentioned earlier, the school is less than 5 minutes from the train station and 2 minutes walking from the bus station. So it's quite easy to get into the city, and public transport over here is quite cheap. So a journey can actually be as little as $1 Australian, depending on how long it is. And the maximum that you can spend per day is $4.80. So no matter how much you travel, once you reach the $4.80, because at EF Perth you are getting a student and public transport card, it will stop and it will cap at $4.80. So you could go from the host family to school, from your school to an activity, from activity to work, from work to the beach, and then the same way around back home. Once you hit $4.80, that is the maximum that you can spend. Another great fact is that public transport is actually completely free on a Sunday with your student and public transport card. So very, very affordable to go around Perth with public transport. And I always say host family is a great option for anyone that wants cultural exchange and wants to dive into the lifestyle there. In the pictures, you see some of our hosts with their students. The one on the right side is actually last Christmas. We had an event here in school and invited all of our hosts in. Really, really excited to meet you guys. Alternatively, if you say, I would like to live a little bit closer to the city, we do have Campus Perth. And Campus Perth is a residence, 10 minutes walking distance from school. What is important, it is not part of the school. It's a residence we work with, but it's super centrally located. Again, everything within walking distance, bar, cafe, restaurants, everything that you would need. It is self-catering, so it means that you would need to cook and provide groceries on your own. Each room has bathrooms on the rooms themselves, and then a small kitchenette. So you've got a fridge in your room, a water kettle, and some storage. And then there is a big kitchen on each floor, which is the picture you see on the very top floor. So you've got communal kitchens where you can then make your own breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and actually cook your meals as well. There is a gym on site, which is free for Campus Perth residents, and it is fully furnished and includes linen and towels, and kitchen utensils can be rented at the reception. So you really have everything there that you might need. You do have access to the rooftop terrace. There is study areas with pool tables, games, and the movie room. So really a great way for anyone that wants to be closer to the city. What is important is that we share the residence with students from all over the world, so from different Australian universities, other English schools. So really gives you a great option to also meet people from all over the world. What you can choose between is a couple of room types. So you could either decide to go for a shared room, which is either a twin room, which is for 2 people, or a multi-room, which is for 4 people. And you would be sharing the room as well as the bathrooms together. Alternatively, we do have our single rooms. So the most private one is the studio room, which has an ensuite bathroom, and you actually have your own kitchen in there with a double-sized bed. And this is also available for couples if you wanted to travel together. or alternatively, our 6 shared apartment, which is 6 students of the same gender. Each of you would have an individual room, and then you would share an ensuite bathroom, a small kitchenette, and then a single-sized bed in your room. For this room type, again, your kitchen, the big communal kitchen, would be on your floor. Now, we've gone through, I want to say, the general details. You might be wondering, that sounds all interesting, but I know nothing about Perth. I know nothing about Western Australia. Why should I even consider a place like this and not go to a bigger city, or maybe go to a different place altogether? Now, the first, I always say, biggest advantage that we have in Perth, and especially in the west of Australia, is that we do have sunshine almost all year around. Perth is actually Australia's sunniest capital city, and we have an average of 9 hours of sunshine a day. And now, coming from Italy and having traveled to Italy myself quite a bit, especially as a child, because Austria being quite close, I do know that your weather is definitely better than what we have in Austria. But at the same time, over here, it's just next level. So in general, anything related with sunshine is what you can find over here. You can go swimming, you can go surfing, or of course, one of our favorite pastime activities is watching our amazing sunsets. So like the picture that you see where it says beach walks is a sunset that I actually photographed a couple of, I think it was about probably a year and a half ago, because the sun in Western Australia actually sets over the ocean. So amazing, places to be, and the beaches over here are just absolutely stunning. So I always say Perth is the perfect destination for anyone that likes summer, sunsets, and of course the beach lifestyle. Now, the second quite unique thing that we have here over here is our unique wildlife. So maybe, taking a selfie with our famous quokkas, which is the little cute animal, and Rottnest Island that you can see, and going to see kangaroos on Harrison Island, which is a kangaroo sanctuary, and going to visit koalas in a sanctuary, or like seeing stingrays down south about 2.5, 3 hours from Perth. Perth and Western Australia pretty much has it all. We do offer activities where we go swimming with sea lions and snorkeling with dolphins. And right now we've got whale watching season. So in the beginning of October, we are taking our students to see whales from a boat. So really like having that classic Australian experience, seeing all of the animals over here is what Perth is all about. I know what some of you might be thinking, but what about dangerous ones? Well, let me tell you, of course, it is Australia, and we do have some snakes and spiders, but I am a very outdoorsy person. I love rock climbing, I go camping, I go hiking a lot, and I have not seen hardly any of them. I think in the 3 years that I've been here, I've seen 2 snakes, and they were more afraid of me than the other way around. So as long as you leave them alone, they will absolutely not disturb you. And as you can see from the pictures, most of the animals over here are actually quite adorable and absolutely not what the media makes it out to be. Which brings me to the next point. Perth and generally Western Australia is amazing for outdoor activities year around. So may it be camping, coastal walks, hiking in national parks, to seeing the waterfalls. So the picture that you see on the very left is actually one of our students in front of Les Murdy Falls. We're going there again this Saturday with our students. It's about an hour bus ride from the school. Lots of opportunities for you to do things outdoors. Now, what's amazing about Perth is that in summer, you can do everything beach related. As we were saying, surfing, snorkeling, kayaking, any water activity that you can think of, perfect for summer because it does get quite warm. Now, in winter, our winters are relatively mild. So typically a winter day goes up to around 15 to 20 degrees, and at night it maybe goes down to like 5 or 10 degrees. So it is the perfect time to go hiking. So we always say in the winter months, it's really doing, city sightseeing, hiking, and exploring the Western Australian bushlands. And then in summer, you have the opportunity to really enjoy the water and really enjoy the time there. The other thing that is very Australian is sports. So my Australian friends over here, they are all huge on AFL, which is Australian football, rugby, cricket, soccer, basketball. Perth has it all. So it is a great place to experience these things, both from, of course, watching it, simply because it is a very Australian thing to do. We've got a huge stadium. So the picture that you can see in the bottom is the stadium just in East Perth, where you can watch big rugby games, AFL games. Concerts are in there as well. Ed Sheeran, for example, is coming in January. I watched Coldplay in that stadium as well, which was an amazing experience. But we also offer quite a lot of activities for you to participate in. So one of them is actually our Perth rugby experience. So what we have in Perth is that you can actually be part of an Australian rugby team while learning English. So the season is from April until September. So that is what would be important to keep in mind. And how it works is that we would pair you with an Australian rugby club. This is available for both males and females, so no problem there, and also for all experience level. You could be experienced in rugby, or you could start fresh, have never played it before. There is teams out there for everyone. And how it works is that we would actually connect you with an Australian rugby club. So the picture on the very top, the lovely gentleman on the right side, his name is Theo, and he was one of our most recent rugby students over here, and he played for the Perth Bayswater team. And basically, he had trainings with them. So you have trainings 1 to 2 times a week. You participate in the weekend games. And the really great thing about it is you get to know locals. So it's such a local experience. You speak to Australians, and lots of New Zealand people actually also play rugby. And you've got the opportunity to, again, get different cultures, different experiences, but especially improve your English also outside of the classroom. You do have sports insurance included, so that you don't need to worry about that. You get a shirt of your local rugby team and also a ticket to a live game. This always depends on seasonality. So obviously we try to make sure that you get the rugby ticket, but it could also be AFL, could be basketball, depending on what is on. So really great experience for you to try. Now, if you say, well, that sounds fun, but I don't know if rugby is for me, we also have each Tuesday, we're doing a sports club where we go play soccer, basketball, and volleyball. We go to the beach quite a lot, of course, to play beach volleyball together. And each Wednesday, I actually take our students running. So we explore Perth by running and do a running club each Wednesday, around 6 kilometers. Once people have been a bit more experienced, we go up to 10, but 5 to 6 is what we usually go for. The other thing that's quite great is the location of Perth. So it is quite remote, and the closest city is actually, quite a bit away by plane ride, but Perth is surrounded by absolutely stunning nature landscapes. So we take our students up to the Pinnacles Desert, which is a stone desert. We do sandboarding in the Lancelin sand dunes. We go down to Margaret River, which is a wine region. The Swan River region, which is also very well known for its wine, is 20 minutes outside of Perth. But then also farther road trips up north to go to Kalbarri, which is an absolutely stunning national park, or all the way down to Esperance, where you see the little kangaroo on the beach. Just a spoiler alert, if you want to see the kangaroos on the beach, you do need to get up early. They typically are there for sunrise, so around 6 in the morning. I've actually seen them there as well. But yeah, lots of great things to do with road trips or of course with an activity. For those of you that would be with us potentially for a bit of a longer time, you might also be interested in your academic year holidays to pop over to Bali, because it's actually only a 3.5-hour plane ride away, and we are actually taking our students as well. So in November, we're going to do a Bali trip together with our students and exploring the island together. And then last but not least, of course, making sure, what does Perth City have to offer? So I always say Perth has the perfect combination of culture, nature and city vibes. So there's so many cultural events happening, many museums, cool cafes, bars, restaurants. And in summer, one of my favorite places is to go to the outdoor movie theater, which is the picture you see in the very middle there. It's 5-minute walking distance from school, and each evening there is a different movie playing. Lots of live music at festivals, as I was mentioning. Ed Sheeran is coming. We've got Kendrick Lamar that is going to be here in December. Just had Coldplay. So lots of cultural events going on. And fun fact, it actually Perth and Adelaide they together have the second biggest Fringe festival worldwide. So I don't know if you've heard about Fringe. It's basically it's a theater and comedy festival. So lots of international guests coming. You can go to shows, theaters, improv things, magic shows, lots of cultural events happening. So great way to really also, of course, dive into the cultural side there. And then for the foodies amongst us, lots of great food. So Perth and in general Australia is very well known for the coffee. So it's a little bit different than how it works in Italy. I remember the $1 coffee, like the short ones that you get. Over here, it's a lot of different fancy things that you can try out. But similar to Italy, Australians take great pride into their coffee. So definitely something out there for the coffee lovers. And then, of course, making sure to try the local cuisine, like might it be avocado on toast is a very famous one. Chicken parmy, which is one of the most Australian things that you can try. Or if you're really brave, you can even try kangaroo. I'm vegetarian, so I have not tried it yet, but my family, so my parents and my sister came over 2 years ago and they tried it and they actually said it's quite nice. So yeah, lots of different things for you to try also from a culture and city perspective. So yeah, this is basically how our activities look like, because I know for many of you it might be the first time going abroad. So we do have a quite extensive offer available for you. Each month we put together an activity calendar with different things. There's always a mix of sports, culture, nature, language, and then of course also going out, just so that there is something in there for everyone. We have different clubs running. We've got a communication club over here to improve your English through that. Of course, also, as you were already saying, the Bali trip, which is always a highlight, and we cannot wait to take. We're 20 students going together there. So lots of different things for you to try, because we always say, and this is the philosophy that we have at EF, is it's, of course, you will learn and improve your English so much in your classes, through your classrooms with our teachers. But then it's really also what we call living the language, making sure that you really experience it in the destination. You will meet friends from all over the world, communicate in English on an everyday basis, which is in combination with the classes really going to bring your English to the next level, to then, of course, bring back home and be successful in whatever you're planning to do afterwards. So yeah, that is it from me to begin with. I would love to hear your questions if you have anything. If you want to find out more, feel free to have a look at our Instagram. It's basically what we do on a daily basis. You can see current students. We just had an amazing bunch of Italian students arrive with us about 3 weeks ago. So you will see some of those. But otherwise, we have students from Japan, France, Korea, Sweden, Ecuador, Mexico, Austria, Germany, Switzerland, Canada. So really students from all over the world. So it's, of course, diving into Australian culture, but also really finding your friends from all over the world, which is going to make a huge, huge, huge difference. So yeah, any questions you guys have?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the presentation. I think it was very exciting, and now I want to leave for Australia right now. So obviously that's something that looking back, I would honestly, I think I would have done something like this. I stayed a little bit closer to home. From Italy, I went to the UK, which is a little bit, it's still moving out, but it's not as far as going to Australia. And I think that would obviously, it would have been a great experience. And in fact, I think connected to this, while I maybe wait for people to kind of ask questions, I think quite a few have come up, from what you just mentioned during your presentation. Considering, obviously, we're talking about people moving from Europe, from Italy to Australia, what do you reckon, in your experience as well, being one of those people, I'm guessing, as well, what do you think are the biggest things that you should keep in consideration when moving from Europe to Australia in terms of lifestyle, or in general, like things that you found useful as well in your considerations?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say it's not too late. Our oldest student last year was 72 years old. So just throwing out there, you can still do it. Most of our students are between 18 to 35. But again, 72, you still have time. But apart from that, so I would always say a couple of things. Consider what time you want to come from to, and how long you want to come. So generally, my mother tongue is German, and I spent a year abroad after between high school and university. I spent a year abroad in the US. So that was my first time abroad, and my English, quite frankly, was really bad. So the first thing that I do want to say is, do not panic if your English is not where you want it to be in. You are going abroad to learn. You are going abroad to improve. And the great thing is, especially in the school environment, you do have the opportunity to be surrounded with people that go through the exactly same thing that you are going through. If you can, of course, spend a little bit longer abroad, would definitely recommend it. Because I realized for myself that when I was abroad for the first time, the first couple of weeks, it was a lot. It's a new language, it's a new environment, and it really, I would say, after 3.5, 4 months, that's when I really felt like I've arrived. Back then, before I went to, I was like, I don't know, do I want to do a long period of time? 3 months in, if I had to return after 3 months, I would have been so sad. So I do think, it's definitely, if you can spare the time, absolutely. If you can, short time is still great. I mean, any time that you spend abroad is going to open your horizon. It's going to improve your speaking. It's going to take away the fear of speaking English, which is definitely one of the biggest things. That growing up in Europe myself, knowing how school works, it's very much, you focus on school. It's definitely the communication which makes a big difference. I would say that's the one thing. The second thing, kind of considering what time frame you want to come to Australia. I always say both summer and winter have beautiful times to it. If you are a summer person and you want to have the classic Australian beach lifestyle, September until February is when you want to come.
Okay.
If you are not so good with hot temperatures, I would come outside of that time period, because in January, as an example, it can go up to 40, 45 degrees. It's a dry heat, and it's not humid, but if you're not so great with the heat, I would say do March until September, because it's a little bit colder then.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that, because you managed to answer maybe 2 or 3 of my questions, and it just in that go. So that was very useful. I think one of the other ones that I wanted to ask you was, would you still encourage older students, more mature students? But you obviously already answered that, telling me that your oldest student last year was 72 years old, so that's obviously fine. No, absolutely. Just because obviously we do have a lot of young students, but then we also have more sort of like senior students, more mature students as well. So I think that's it's a fair question, but you obviously already answered that. With regards to kind of timing, would you suggest like a minimum that you would spend, at least, considering that you are flying to the other side of the world?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to be very honest with you, there is no absolute minimum, right? I mean, I think it's kind of like, as I was saying, the longer you can go, the better. But then if you can only do 3 weeks, 3 weeks is better than not going at all. So I do also think, and especially with Western Australia, yes, of course, it is the other side of the world, but having flown back and forth quite a lot myself, it's not as far as one might think. What I mean by that is, from Italy, you can, similar to what I can do from Austria, you can fly from Italy to Doha, and then from Doha directly to Perth. And that's going to take you about 20 hours. Now, don't get me wrong, that's long, like 20 hours is a long flight, right?
Absolutely.
But considering that you're going to the complete other side of the world, like if you were to go to, like, let's say Hawaii, it would take you actually longer to go to Hawaii than over here, because you've got the connecting flights. So if you
it's well connected, let's put it that way.
Exactly.
Okay, and that obviously helps. Okay. This is more of a curiosity on my end, but do you happen to deal with students who get there and then they get homesick? And then
Yes.
how do you deal with that kind of situation?
Yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely. So the great advantage is we have actually all gone through it. So the first slide, one of the first slides that I showed you of the team, everyone here at EF Perth has made their own experiences abroad. Some of them moved to Australia, like myself, themselves. Some of them are from Australia, but then they have gone to the UK. They have gone to Europe to do their own experiences. So the first thing that I always say, if somebody does feel homesick, is it's actually normal, because it's especially like when it's your first time away from home, things are gonna feel different. We always say, like, after a couple of weeks, like the pink glasses, the honeymoon phase is over, and you start to realize, this is very different to what I'm used to. Now, this is why we have our student services team in place, and they're actually also schooled in order to support there. So we have welfare check-ins. We have, especially for our long-term students, we have a mentor program. So everyone that is with us for a longer period of time gets assigned a mentor, and then we meet on a monthly basis to really go through these things. Is there something that you're struggling with, that you still want to achieve, and you feel like you're not progressing as you're feeling to, or as you're saying, are you simply homesick? And then we just talk through it, and just support each other. Look into. I always say the best way to deal with homesickness is to get out there. So we connect students with students that have potentially gone through it themselves. The activities really help, making sure you make friends, and you get reminded of all the amazing things that you can experience yourself.
Yeah.
Classic example. So my birthday was in the beginning of September. And I always get a little bit sad about my birthday, because it's nice to celebrate with my friends here, but then, I want to celebrate with my family and friends back home. So my birthday was a Monday, and I took the day off. And I was actually going to the beach. And I was like, a little bit sad. And I was walking on the beach. And I looked to the right, and all of a sudden, there was 3 whales off the beach.
Amazing.
And and then, like, to me, that was such obviously apart from it being a stunning moment, I was like, I would never have made that experience if I had not abroad. So for every time you feel sad or every time you feel homesick, you get 3 or 4 amazing experiences that you would never have made if you had not gone in the first place.
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect response to how to, deal with feeling homesick, which is obviously a natural emotion that we may feel when we're not around our immediate surrounding and what we know and what we call home. So that's very true. That's a nice way to look at it, actually. Okay, so I've got one last question for you. And I think this is more to do with, obviously, planning. I wanted to end it on a more kind of like organization and planning. I'm a student. I'm interested in obviously going to Australia, coming to Perth. How long before should I start planning this thing? Like, I decide I want to be there for the slightly less hot season. I want to be there maybe, for your winter now, basically. So maybe how long before should I start planning, basically?
I mean, I always say as soon as you have the thought, start looking into it. The more time you have, the less stressful it's going to be, because especially with visas, there is obviously a little bit of, if you go on a student visa, there is a bit of a processing time. Typically, we recommend around 3 months prior, it's to be the minimum, just to really be sure that you've got enough time for the visa. That being said, we also had a student that actually reached out to us, to an office 3 weeks ago, saying if they can do it. We said, well, you can try. You might not get the visa in time, so we might have to, postpone it. So the worst case is if the visa doesn't arrive in time, you would need to wait until it arrives until you travel. If you want it stress-free, 3 to 6 months, then you can really do everything without a lot of stress. If you've got less time, really depends on the duration, what is possible there. We can always look into it. I would always recommend reach out to the Italian office in that sense, because it does depend, a little bit on also availability. Like if you want to go to residence, if the residence is already full, then we might have to look into host families. So the more time you have beforehand to make that decision, the less difficult it is. But if you're a spontaneous person and you tell me, look, I want to leave in a month, we will very happily look into it for you.
Okay. That sounds, no, I mean, 3 to 6 months is quite fair to plan something like this, especially if you're looking to stay longer as well. Like,
yes, exactly.
You're thinking about it.
Shorter one, we can, if it's a tourist visa, probably gonna be able to be a bit quicker. But yeah, for the student visa, it's gonna take a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I think I've got enough of the questions that I was looking for. I was waiting for maybe some of the students to come, but obviously everything must have been really quite clear, to be honest, with your presentation. So I think at this point we can. What I'd like to say is that if obviously students have any questions, they can reach out to the university, and then we can obviously put you in touch with EF. I think that's what we've been doing up until now. So I think should there be any questions, I'm sure we can reach out. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for your time. It was a real pleasure, and obviously now I'm thinking about Australia. I think I'll be talking to my boss for having some time off. No, okay, just
you know where to find us.
And yeah, okay, no, it's a real pleasure, and thank you so much as well, because I know it's getting a bit late for you there as well.
Pleasure to speak to you all.
Okay. All right then. Thank you again. And as I said, maybe we can think about doing more things in the future as well to kind of talk about Australia. It's always a pleasure to help students understand the importance of considering international experiences. And obviously, EF is a great partner for this. So sounds good.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Grazie mille.
Ciao.
Ciao.